I'm bored. Let's watch some brain rot. Sure, I feel like punishing myself today. Let's watch some YellowFlash. Okay, so this is his video for the Marvel Zombies trailer. If you didn't see our stream last night, we watch it over there. We react to it. The title of this is Marvel Zombies trailer desperate to hide this. Can Disney actually do it? My dude, you're missing out on so many capitalized words in this title. Like you could do Marvel Zombies trailer desperate to hide this. Can Disney actually do it? You could have done that, or you could have done Marvel Zombies trailer desperate to hide this. Can Disney actually do it? You could have done a whole capitalization at the end there. I know it's a struggle to try and figure out which words to capitalize. I have to deal with it every single day when I make videos, but I feel like you dropped the ball on this one. Let's hear what he has to say. Guys, you already know I've pitched it up. YellowFlash talks way too slow. Let's do it.
All right, so yesterday, Marvel released a trailer for their upcoming Marvel Zombies series, which is coming out pretty soon, and they're actually, unless I read it wrong, releasing all the episodes at once.
Right.
That's an interesting tactic.
I mean, they've done that for so many things this year. They've done that for so many things. Like, this isn't new. This isn't something, like, what's interesting about it? This has literally been the way they have released stuff several times in 2025 already. So I'm not really sure what that statement even means.
I wonder why they're doing that. So the trailer is okay. I liked a lot about this trailer. We're going to watch it.
You liked a lot about the trailer. I am very curious how much of it that he liked is he going to talk about and what he's going to harp on. Because clearly he has an issue with it. He wouldn't be talking about it if he didn't have a problem with it. So let's see what pedantic things he complains about.
There's a couple of things about it, though, that I wanted to point out right away.
Of course.
One, Michelle Ali is not voicing Blade, which...
We've already known this. This was news like, I think a month ago. Yeah, it was a month ago.
Kind of says to me and a lot of other people that he is more than likely walking away from the role.
Yeah.
What a disaster this entire thing is with Blade over at Marvel. It's so sad that they can't just figure out a way to make this work. I mean, it's literally in the concept. He is a vampire hunter.
Right.
Have him kill vampires.
Yeah.
I can't understand how they can't figure that out.
Super easy. We've talked about this in detail over at the Nerdcast, and I've actually facetiously also said that all they have to do is make him kill vampires or whatever. It's more than that. And if he just did that, you guys would have a problem with it because it would be too simple, too samey, too carbon copy. Why even bother doing something if it's going to be just like the original movie? What's the point? There'll be a ton of complaints about it, which, by the way, the issue that went on behind the scenes weren't just on Marvel's side. Mahershala also had issues with some of the stuff that was going on. So it wasn't like one side of the coin was doing all of the fighting and the other side was just kind of laying back and letting things happen. No, this was like a struggle between him and every single treatment that came in front of him, pretty much.
You literally have a movie that was successful that you could look at and use for inspiration, which is the original Blade with Wesley Snipes. But I don't know what's going on over there.
So would you want them to just copy that? I mean, that's kind of like something that your community doesn't like, when people just do the same stuff over and over again and copy people. Like, you say that that's lazy and it's not good and they should come up with their own ideas. But here, it seems like with Blade, you would rather them just copy something that already came out, 30 years ago. Because that makes sense to you. Okay.
Another thing about this trailer, real quick, is it's pretty heavy on Blade and not Miss Marvel, who is in this.
Right.
And
does that make you sad? Does that make you sad because you were hoping, you guys were waiting on bated breath for this trailer so you could grift off of girl bossing and feminism and stuff like that? Is that what you were hoping for? Is that why you're upset about it? I'm sure that probably really makes you mad.
It was pretty much confirmed that she was going to be a main character in it,
right,
along with a couple of the other young Avengers that they're setting up.
Okay, keep that in mind. Confirmed. It was confirmed that was the situation, which means that is something they have released publicly and stated publicly. So people would know about that. Okay? Confirmed. Keep that in mind when he says the next thing he's going to say, because I watched a little bit of this before I decided to do it, as I do. I always watch like the first couple minutes. But keep that in mind before he says the next thing, because it's going to not make any sense whatsoever, the next complaint that he has, when he's already established that they confirmed and they stated the other thing. Here we go.
So I wonder if that's a bait and switch.
Oh.
Clearly Blade is going to have a significant role in it.
Clearly Blade is going to have a significant role. Bait and switch, remember that. But Blade is going to have a significant role.
I think, and I think that's appropriate for his character. I think he's pretty cool in this trailer. But I wonder how much are these other characters going to be in it that no one really cares about?
So he's assuming that it's a bait and switch because a character that is probably clearly going to be an important part of the series was featured in the trailer for the series. And he's saying that because it's possible that some of the other young Avengers may get like some time in the spotlight of this show, which Marvel's already stated. So he's already aware of that. So he's already trying to spin a narrative here that if any of the young Avengers get an episode about them or something like that, that it's bait and switch because they used Blade in the trailer, even though clearly they've already stated that. And Blade is most likely going to have an important storyline in the series as well. So they're already setting up a narrative to complain about this show already.
So let's just check this out. It's actually not a bad trailer. I got to give it to them. Like, they have been ratioed. The comments are all pretty positive. By the way, there will be pauses during this. If you want to just watch the trailer and come back, because I'm pausing and making commentary, it is over on the Marvel Entertainment channel. All right, so let's get into this.
So I'm going to go through this with him. I've already watched the trailer and gave my commentary on the trailer, so I'm just going to talk about what he says as we go through this.
I'm liking the music. I'm liking the action. But as I've said before talking about this, there's a graphic novel made by Robert Kirkman. And I really hope this is something special because I don't understand why you wouldn't just adapt that.
So before we go any further, I want to point out, and I say this a lot because I think this is important. These guys have framed Disney as an evil company, indoctrinating kids, right? That's their framing, is that Disney is putting things in movies and TV shows to indoctrinate kids. And I've stated this before. If there were a company, it doesn't matter who it is, that I believed was doing those things. Say, for example, tomorrow we found out that Warner Brothers was doing something insidious to harm the world as a company. And it was something so insidious that you would call it evil. That would mean no support. No support whatsoever. I don't know about you guys, but it would be no support from me. So if I were someone that believed that Warner Brothers was actively doing something to harm some of the most vulnerable people in the world, whether it be kids or marginalized communities or something like that, if I believed that they were doing that in their properties, and that was their agenda or whatever, which is what these guys state, that this is the agenda of these companies, Disney being a big one. If I believe that, I would never, ever give them a pass on a show or movie. I would never be like, well, yeah, they're attacking this group. They're attacking trans people pretty viciously in all of their content. But this one show looks like a banger. That in my mind, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So the fact that they would even look at this and go, yeah, this looks good to me, tells me that all of this, like, it means that all of their opinions about previous Marvel things have nothing to do with how ethical the company is. Because if it's a question of ethics, they wouldn't give them a pass on a random show or a movie. It would be an ethics issue across the board. They would always hold that position. But they don't. They arbitrarily choose when they're going to apply that ethical standard, which is that Disney is harmful to kids. They arbitrarily apply that. Now, yeah, there's some people in this group that probably feel as if Disney just isn't making good media or whatever. And again, that's all subjective stuff. And if you don't like what they're doing, you are totally entitled to not like what they're doing. But when you have gone full on, like Disney is doing things that are harmful to kids and stuff like that, and then you still give them passes on media for any reason whatsoever, my dude, whoever you are, you hold no standards. You have no standards. And that is another example of what grifting looks like on YouTube, on social media, is by not holding a position consistently with your criticisms of what a company does. It needs to be consistent, and it's not. These guys don't believe the things that they say. They don't believe that Disney is evil. They just don't want to see women and gay people and trans people and other marginalized communities. They don't want to see them go through these movies and these TV shows in a positive way. They don't want to see that. Don't listen to them say otherwise, because actions speak louder than words. Their actions have always shown that regardless of what they say, their actions always show that they don't want those things in movies and TV shows. So nothing should be getting a pass if they truly believe that Disney was evil. Anyway, let's continue.
I mean, it's a great graphic novel.
All the Avengers are dead.
So Yelena's voice right away. They really
Yelena. He said Yelena. It's Yelena. You can't if you don't like something, at least know what it is you're talking about.
All the Avengers are dead.
So Yelena's voice right away.
I do want to point out also, I just stated that no matter what, their actions speak louder than words, right? So even if this looks good, his actions tell me that he has an issue with women because he's complaining about a woman doing a tiny voiceover in this trailer right away, immediately.
They've really been trying to make her something big, and no one's watched anything that she's in, really. Maybe this is going to be the one to push her to the top. Good old Yelena.
And they're coming for
Yelena.
us.
All right, we got a world to save.
Oh, he probably didn't recognize. He probably didn't recognize who that was. That's what it is. He recognized her voice, even though no one ever. He's like, no one ever goes to her stuff, but he recognized her voice right away. He knew she was right away. That's part of the thing. Is that's brand recognition. That's why they had her do that voiceover. But you didn't recognize the other character. I don't know. Did anybody in the chat recognize who that was?
Namor.
There's Namor. And he is a superpowered zombie now.
Don't correct anybody's pronunciation of a name when you just got one wrong, you fuckhead. You piece of shit. You didn't even get her name right, and then you're going to correct him on the way another name is pronounced? Give me a break. It's fucking, really.
I mean, this is pretty cool. I love the action in this. So maybe this will actually be one of the first projects that they've done in a while that's actually good. We'll see.
Shit.
This is pretty sweet. I love that he has the Infinity Gauntlet. I like a lot about this trailer. I really do.
This is going to be really interesting. I want to see at the end of this, when the show comes out and all the episodes drop, how they go about this, how they go about doing this. Because you can tell when he talks about his issues in this, that he's trying to sort of feel where everybody is. And his comment section and people that talk about it on social media, their opinion will be driven by whatever their community tells them their opinion's going to be. So if their community wants their opinion to be negative, it's going to be negative, even if they like it. That is historically how YellowFlash and all of these channels have operated.
This might be the first Marvel show in a long time I actually want to watch. This is cool with Spider-Man. He's taking off zombie heads. That's pretty sweet.
They try to put Spider-Man in everything, though, right? They try to push him in everything. He's just everywhere. Why is he everywhere? Why do they put Spider-Man in everything? Maybe this will be the thing that people like him in, right? I mean, is that how you do it? Is that the way you do this?
How long does Spider-Man last in it, though? That's the question I have.
Oh, of course. How long does he last in it? Because if they want to get rid of him right away, right? Of course.
Because I don't think, like, all of these characters I don't think last long. I do predict that it's going to come down to the young Avengers, and they're going to be the ones that kind of save everybody.
You would love that. You would love that.
Whoa, that's how you do that then.
So, Yelena, Red Guardian, Miss Marvel.
No comment on that cool fight we just saw? No comment on that. No comment on Blade versus Ghost in that badass sword fight? You immediately shift over to talking about something you don't want to see. You immediately jump over to the characters you don't want to see. Because you can't glaze it too much. You can't do too much. You can't take yourself all the way to the top. You got to ride that edge for a while. You got to ride it for a while.
And Blade so far. But I know Kate Bishop's in it. She's the one that puts the arrow into the zombie's head at the beginning of the trailer. That's Kate Bishop. That is not Hawkeye. Hawkeye's already a zombie. We've seen him in the lineup here of zombies in a little montage at the beginning.
Well, they say the Avengers are dead. They say it. It's established right at the start.
I just wonder, you know, I think these are going to be the characters that are in most of the movie or the show. Sorry. When does Blade show up? And I hope Blade is a significant character.
He's literally in the scene with them that we just saw. They were together right there. It's quite possible that this is the first episode and this is when they encounter him. That's because most of the scenes in this stuff ends up being from like the first or second episodes of the season.
Character in this, because this actually fits him a lot better than these characters. Why is Yelena in this? And Red Guardian?
I mean, that's the point. They're kind of they're fish out of water type situation with zombies. That's like a trope in zombie type films and shows. All right.
I think this was a mistake trying to push these guys up as like the new main characters of Marvel. Nobody cares about them.
Ow.
You know, they keep saying that. They keep saying nobody cares about them. But you guys do, right? You care about them enough that you don't like them. So you do care about them. Saying nobody cares about them would mean they're insignificant. They show up and nobody pays any attention to them. Nobody has any concern about them. But you do care about them. You just care about them negatively. People that don't like them care about them negatively. They care because they don't like them. So saying no, you mean nobody wants them there. Nobody wants them in the shows. Nobody wants them in the movies. If you were using language to communicate correctly, that's how you would say it. Nobody wants them in these shows or movies. Not no one cares. Nobody cares. That you guys use that term incorrectly. That's not, it doesn't mean what you think it means.
And that's obvious from the box office. So yeah, everyone's coming back. This is why people are speculating that Mahershala Ali is done because of this. Like, he's not voicing the character, which is kind of a big deal. Awkwafina gets to come back. Thank God. I was wondering when we get to see Awkwafina return as Marvel's Katie. Do any of these names, other than Elizabeth Olsen coming back to do Wanda, really do anything for anyone? Dominique Thorne's in it.
You don't like Wyatt Russell? You don't like John Walker? Paul Rudd? You don't like Paul Rudd? I don't know what the issue with David Harbour is. I don't know what he's done to these guys to make them not like him. I'm not sure what that is. It's not even like you guys seem to misunderstand how this works. Their names are listed here because they are part of the project. That's why their names are there. Like, would you expect them to post names of people that aren't involved in the series or these movies or anything like that? What kind of sense does that make? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh, wow. Awesome. I'm so happy that Riri Williams is returning. So there's a lot of characters in here I just don't give a shit about. And I'm not the only one. However, you know, if they deliver a solid show, which remains to be seen, maybe some of them can get up there a little bit higher in likability. We'll see.
When have you ever held that standard before? If they deliver a solid show, we'll see. Okay, let me put this in perspective. You say no one cares about these people, right? And that no one's excited about them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now you're saying, but the caveat to that is, and this is him, again, leaving room in case he actually ends up enjoying it, that he will like them more if they're in a show that he likes. When has he ever held that standard before? This is madness. I don't think I've watched a lot of YellowFlash YellowFlash. I've watched a lot of YellowPiss videos, and he doesn't ever allow this grace for most of the Marvel stuff. So I wonder why here he's doing that. He's doing that because he's not totally sure if the show is going to feature more of like the characters he wants them to feature, like Spider-Man or Blade or whatever. He wants those to be the featured characters. And if they feature more of them, he's leaving room to like the series and give a pass to any of the stuff he's saying in this video. Because more times than not, these guys get caught in bullshit. They get caught up in all the bullshit. He doesn't want to be that guy this time. He wants to try and make sure he leaves himself a little breathing room with this. That's why.
I definitely am telling you, like, this is a decent trailer. I got to say, I actually kind of like everything I saw here. This is one of the few Marvel things that have been in the pipeline that I've been curious about. Whether or not it's good, I don't know. I'd like it to be good. I think.
Would you? Again, I want you guys to understand that these guys say that Disney is an evil company going after children. That is their stance on this. Matter of fact, let's take a look at YellowFlash's channel to see how many videos about Disney he's done in the last couple of weeks where he's framed them as an evil company with some sort of insidious message behind their movies and TV shows. Here we go. Kids need gay Disney with a little pride icon there and Buzz Lightyear. Over here, Disney Marvel officially gives up on Fantastic Four First Steps. They know it's dead, but hey, wait a minute. Gay friendly. Up in the corner. I wonder why. Pedro, who was in Fantastic Four, new gay king there, of course. Snoop Dogg gay. Hollywood punishing Snoop Dogg. Demoralizing Disney, forcing censorship. Another one here, heads are going to roll. Pride with him on it, with Pedro Pascal on it. Look, heads are going to roll. Woke and proud. Woke and proud. I thought woke is an ideology, and if it's an ideology, you shouldn't be accepting anything from companies that are pushing woke ideologies. Here we are. The truth is out, daddy, with Pedro Pascal. Let's see, is there any more? Oh yeah, there's a bunch more here. There's a bunch more. So yeah, I don't think that you guys truly hold your positions on anything. Really. It's giving performative. It's giving, I'm going to do whatever my fans tell me to do. It's giving, I don't know how to feel about this because I like it, and I realize that Disney isn't doing all the things I think they're doing, and I've just been pushing all of this nonsense for clicks and clout and views on YouTube. That's what it's giving. It's not giving you being a serious person. It really is totally you sort of acknowledging that Disney isn't pushing woke ideology, and they aren't doing those things. And when something comes along that you cannot deny it because you actually like it. Because I believe that YellowFlash actually likes this trailer. I believe that. But I also believe that he feels like he has to play to his base. He has to give his base their milk. He has to squeeze it out for them. And so he did that a little bit throughout this trailer. You guys have created this monster for yourselves. Everything that all the standards your community holds you to are standards you have established for yourselves.
I think Marvel Zombies is fun. I really like the stories they used to do. I don't know if they still do them, but the first graphic novel was really good. I like that one. I also like them in that Ultimate Fantastic Four run that Mark Miller did. That was a lot of fun. So we'll see. That's what they really should have done, if you ask me. They should have just adapted Mark Miller's Fantastic Four stuff, where Magneto is like the leader of the Resistance, and he's working with humans and everybody else.
For what? Adapted that for what? We haven't even established Magneto or the X-Men in the MCU. If you're talking about the Fantastic Four movie, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Again, never give these people access to writing scripts or anything like that. Nobody wanted your dog shit. Let's play this game. No one cares about your dog shit comic book. That's why it struggled to reach its goal. No one cares. That's why you're not talking about it anymore. No one's talking about it. No one cared. See how that works? Nobody cared about that. So you do not have the right to tell them what they should have done in any of these properties. You guys showed your hand. That's the thing about these folks. Anytime they get engaged in the entertainment that they claim to criticize, and they put something out and it ends up being awful dog shit garbage, they no longer have one or two legs to stand on at that point. They have nothing to stand on. So anytime YellowFlash moving forward talks about what would have been better in terms of writing and story, just remember his awful comic book. Just remember that. Remember the comic book that was so bad that even his viewers didn't want to buy it. Just remember that.
Because, he recognizes that humanity is dying out. So at this point, it's like everybody needs to band together. It was a good story. Really good story, actually. That would have been fantastic. And you could have used him, actually, because you have the X-Men rights back. So,
but what sense would it have made to use Magneto in that instance without the Magneto backstory? Let's be real. Fucking dumb shit.
What do I know?
Right.
Marvel clearly knows what they're doing over there.
They know more than you because your comic book was dog shit.
You can just see it in their box office returns.
Box office returns don't equal quality. I don't know how many times I have to say that. How much money a movie makes at theaters does not necessarily reflect the quality of the product. I know that your viewers know that. I know that you know that. I know a lot of other people know that. You keep saying it, but it just sounds dumber and dumber as you keep saying it. Like it is below the lowest level of dumb at this point to equate quality and good stories with a box office. All the box office represents is that people are willing to go and spend money on it. Look at Minecraft. Look at that movie. How many other movies over the years have been massive successes that aren't the best stories? You would argue that something like Captain Marvel wasn't great, but by your standard, it made money at the box office. So immediately that means people wanted it. People liked it, right? That is your standard. That's not a position you should hold because it doesn't make any sense.
Also, real quick, that trans actor that was in Doctor Who desperately wants to play Mystique.
Oh, throwing this in randomly at the end of this video? What does this have to do with this? Not enough negativity? He didn't meet his negativity quota, guys. The boxes weren't ticked. Not enough negativity. Got to throw something in there. I'm sure you're going to make another video on this anyway. You're going to make a video on this anyway because it comes from Cosmic Book News. And you want to talk shit about Jinx Monsoon. Obviously. So I'm sure there's a video right down the pipeline on this one.
And Marvel might listen to him. Like I think they're going to screw up their Marvel X-Men reboot. God, it's going to be a shit show, I think.
You would love that.
I think they're going to run with all the wrong things in it that nobody wants to see, like turning it into a...
Again, nobody wants to see. Nobody cares. You guys don't understand what you're talking about. You don't understand it. You've been in the grift so long, you're speaking in code. You're speaking in code to your followers who are brain dead. And they only understand like Morse code fucking speak. Learn the language. Learn how to talk to people. Learn how to communicate. You guys are fucking idiots.
Professor X, Martin Luther King, and Magneto, Malcolm X thing. God. We'll see. But as of right now, Marvel Zombies looks pretty good.
All right, we're going to stop there. Yeah, he's leaving himself breathing room. What this shows me is that they're willing to concede on a company that they've basically called morally corrupt because they're entertained by something. So never let them tell you, never let them say to you, people out there just consume and don't care about anything else when they're doing that. When these guys concede that something looks good, when they do that, in the face of everything else they've said. And people go, oh, well, they walk back stuff a lot. They like stuff a lot. Yeah, except they're doing it with a company they've called morally corrupt. Morally corrupt, evil, indoctrinating, grooming, going after kids. This is what they've said about Disney. They just talked about the Snoop Dogg stuff. They just made videos about that. So you're telling me that if you're a fan of these guys, you're telling me from your perspective, if there's a company that you have agreed is pushing and indoctrinating things on children, which is the thing that you guys say, this is your argument, you agree they're doing that, you're still willing to go out and support them and watch their shows and give them money and concede that something they did is good? You're willing to do that? That's the position you're willing to take? That's weird. I would not take that position with a company that I've attacked. If I've gone after a company for being morally corrupt and evil and doing things to marginalize people, I would not then select one or two things where I'm like, well, morally corrupt, don't care, this looks good to me, I'm going to give it a shot. Like, that's not what you do. And this is the conundrum that these channels have put themselves in. This is the position they've built. This is the corner they have painted themselves into. Is that they talked about how evil Disney is as a corporation. Once you have crossed that line of it's just bad movies to they're pushing propaganda, they're pushing messaging. Once you've crossed that line, you cannot concede to anything else they've done. And when you start doing that, when you finally do that, it shows there are cracks in the foundation of everything you've established. And the cracks are showing. Is Disney a morally corrupt business that is doing things evil to children and to people in the world? And if they are, why the fuck would you give them any sort of grace on any project they make? Make it make sense, because it does not make sense.